don't know if it was that or through you being at BNI.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's what it was, but it's been at least 5 or 6 years. I would think.
Yeah,
we done a lot of shit since then, so I can't really remember, dude.
No, it's been a lot.
I feel like I've been. How long you guys been doing that golf tournament?
So we started by doing a clay shoot, but if you do a fundraiser clay shoot, it's the same thing as a golf tournament, basically. Right. I mean, but man, probably at least I would say 7 years the golf tournament.
Okay, because I feel like I've been doing that for 5, I think. A long time.
For sure.
Well, anyways, so you have Dream Hunt Foundation. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about you too, because like you guys, I mean, we like what you do. We like to support you guys, and everybody's like kind of been a part of it, right. Around here. So,
man, it's just something that I really felt like the Lord was putting on my heart. Man, 2011 is when I really kind of was stirred about it. Like, man, I'm a passionate hunter, like passionate, to the point where I probably have addiction issues or obsession, with hunting.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where God was dealing with me about it. And I just felt like God was saying, hey, I want you to do this for other people. And I didn't know what that meant. And I really put it off for like a year. In 2011 and 2012, I really kind of came back around to that. And I was like, okay, what could I be doing for other people concerning this? And man, it was just through a series of praying about it, honestly, and that's really the whole deal with Dream Hunt. It was ignited by something that God put in my heart. It's not really something that I wanted to do, because when I do Dream Hunt, it takes away from me personally hunting, because we're doing it for all these kids, But it's all good, man. I love it, man. It's for sure my calling. There's no doubt about it. So I knew when God kind of was doing all this, saying, "Hey, I want you to take handicapped, sick kids with no dad on their dream hunting and fishing trip." I knew that, like, okay, this is like a nonprofit kind of stuff, but I don't know anything about that. I mean, before that, I was a pastor on staff at churches for like 18 years. And so I'm sitting there going, what am I getting into? Like, I literally have no idea.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but in my mind, I'm thinking, cool, well, we'll just, we'll take like 4 or 5 kids a year hunting and call it good. We'll do my deed and that kind of deal. But man, it just, after the first year in 2013, I did all the nonprofit work, got that established. I knew I needed to do that first. But once we got that established, it was like, when we took those first 5 kids in 2013, it just exploded. And it was crazy, So we've taken over 2,000 kids in 10 years. We just completed our 10th year. It's wild.
What so what are the requirements if like someone were wanting to like sign their kid up for this? How does that work? What does it look like?
So we take a kid one time, and then if the kid kills a deer or whatever, then they're done.
Right.
So it's their dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the kid has to have not ever harvested the animal that we're going after.
Okay.
So I do take kids that like, oh, I've killed a deer, but I've never killed a gator, and I really want to do that. Well, we'll take them on a gator hunt. In fact, Jeff Landry hosts the gator hunt every year down at his camp down in Henderson Swamp, down in the middle of nowhere, And so that they have to meet the requirements of, are they have a terminal illness, or do they have a terminal disability, mm-hmm. which is a disability that lasts a lifetime, or do they not have anybody that can take them? They not have a dad in their life. During COVID.
Oh, so it doesn't have to be.
No.
Well, I thought that's crazy because I've been part of this. I thought it had to be someone who were handicapped or had a disability or whatever.
Well, so during COVID, we were like, okay, the world's crazy right now, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's getting sick. So I was like, how are we going to take a sick kid? So we kind of amended it and was like, okay, well, there's a lot of kids out there that have no father in their life. There's no uncle, no father. And so we kind of got plugged into this organization that does stuff for families if the dad was in the military, or the mother was in the military and died overseas in battle.
Mm-hmm.
So there's these orphans that basically out there all over the country that it's called Survivor Services. Dude, they started referring kids like, hey, this kid's dad was a sniper and he died, and there's 4 kids.
Dang.
I know. And I was like, are they healthy? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, we'll take them, man. You know, so we did that during COVID because we were like, the last thing I want to do is take a sick kid and then them get sicker. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, we had to change. You know, but we kept right on, man. It's been awesome, and man, we have a very high success rate. We film every hunt. Every kid has a guide, a landowner. It's on film, so. We raise the money to pay for everything, so the family's not out anything. So when they come in, we put them up in the hotel, we feed them, we outfit them, we provide a weapon, we have a guide, a cameraman, landowner, transportation to and from. Everything's covered. So
and then once they harvest the animal, you guys do the processing.
Yeah,
for them
so
too.
the guide and the cameraman clean the deer, and then we have a deer process in place that actually several of them that will process the deer and package it and all that kind of stuff for them if they're a dream hunt kid. So man, it's really turned into like a community effort kind of thing. Like there are a lot of people involved. Like there's so many people doing so many things. It's hard to give credit to one person for anything with Dream Hunt because we literally have thousands of volunteers. From people just providing land, people just taking the kids, filming the kids, have some people just write checks. Hey, love what you do. Here's some money. Go make it happen. And they, I think they see so much of what we do. They see the pictures of the kids we're taking and all that kind of stuff. So it's been crazy, man. Really, it really has been.
And I think I didn't even think about that, but that has to span. If you think about every single piece of it, there's a lot more than just the people showing up to help with the events, hands-on. There's all the planning aspect of it, and then everyone who's involved.
It's a lot.
And then these, but you also do. Well, I want to talk about this too. Not only hunting, you do fish. You're doing fishing now.
Yeah.
Too.
So that's
how did
crazy.
that start up? Yeah.
So I had a couple of our guides that said, "Hey, man, you ever thought about taking kids fishing?" I was like, "No, because." I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fisherman.
Not a big fisherman. Yeah.
Me personally. I was like, no, you think kids want to do that? Yeah. Well, we got in contact with Shriners Hospital here in Shreveport and said, hey, if you have some kids in the summertime, we're thinking about maybe taking some on a fishing trip. And they're like, oh, man, that'd be great. Well, probably 2016 or 17, we took Shriners Hospital kids fishing. And so I was like, well, that's cool. And so Bass Pro Shop in Bossier hears about it, and actually they do it every year. And we just did it the other day, but they do a rod and reel giveaway. So Bass Pro Shop does a deal like if you bring your rod and reel and you turn it in, then they will knock off 75% off of a brand new rod and reel.
Okay.
Well, they collect the old rod and reel.
As long as it's in working condition.
Correct.
Right.
And they give it to multiple nonprofits. It was like us, Dream Hunt, the Boy Scouts, and some other one out in Arkansas, somewhere like that. And so they give us these gently used rods and reels. Well, there ain't nothing wrong with them. I mean, we're just sitting there with a kid, catching brim, And so that's how we got our gear to begin with. But it's kind of crazy. Caddo Parish Schools, about 4 or 5 years ago, I had a lady from Caddo Parish Schools call me, and she's a special needs APE, which means adaptive PE teacher, okay? And she says, look, I got these special needs kids. I don't know if you know it, but a kid, if they're in special needs, they don't get the opportunity to participate in, like, field day because...
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Like, they can't do the... three-legged race or 40-yard dash or whatever they do. Okay? Tug of war, all that kind of stuff. She says, but they do get a special field trip or multiple. And she says, would Dream Hunt take these kids from my class on a field trip fishing and guide them? And I was like, heck yeah, that'd be great. Sure. So about 4 or 5 years ago, this is before COVID, we took 2 or 3 classes from like University Elementary in Shreveport. And man, they had a blast. You know, we feed them lunch, we give them little Dream Hunt hats, and make it fun for them for 2 or 3 hours. Well, somehow, I know how, but I guess these teachers have like a work meeting where like they all get together and they like talk about
have
things.
Happy hour.
Yeah, or happy hour or something.
Yeah.
And they go, man, you wouldn't believe, you know. So she told other special needs teacher, dude, listen to me. This past year, it's grown so much with just Caddo Parish. This past year, we took 29 schools of special needs kids. It was like 280 special needs kids just in Caddo Parish.
Right.
I mean, it was every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in March, April, and half of May. Mm-hmm. And we took a ton of kids fishing. Well, Bossier Parish hears about it. You know, they're like, and so they come out and want to do a site visit and check it out, and they're like blown away. They're like, man, what is going on? They're like, will you do this for Bossier? And I was like, yeah. And I said, we just need to know because so we can plan it, you know. And I said, well, what are you thinking about? She's like, well, we got 40 Bossier Parish schools with special needs kids. And I'm like, okay. So now we've got it where Caddo Parish is going to one place, Bossier Parish is going to go to another. So it's just, it's growing.
So you need more volunteers, what you're saying.
Yeah, need more volunteers.
Everyone listening, he needs more volunteers.
Yeah, check us out on our website, dreamhunt.tv, and you can go apply online to be a volunteer and all that. But it's been crazy, man.
Well, that's crazy because I remember when you first started. Because when you first started the fishing stuff, we would come help with that.
Yeah,
and to see what it's grown to, that's insane.
But you see where we go.
That was just the Shriners, like we were talking about. Yeah,
out at Wicker's place.
Right.
Which is
it's amazing.
Oh, dude,
it's amazing. Every time you go, doesn't matter what time of day you're going to catch fish.
You're going to catch fish. I mean, it's like automatic. Yeah. And that's the other cool thing is like they're having a blast. But I don't know, man. It's just I guess going back to when it started, I guess I thought it could be like this, but I didn't know how that would happen. You know what I'm saying? It's really a testament to like anything you do in life. If you're called to do it or you feel so passionate about it, you just keep grinding and keep doing it, then it's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's good, you know? So many people love it and are involved and can help. Like I said, there's no way one person could pull all that off. How could I guide all these kids by myself and cook all the food and do all the stuff? Mm-hmm. And there's no way, you know. And
you have a lot of what I like about working with you guys too is you have a lot of different avenues to fundraise. Yeah, we do like we have the huge crawfish.
Crawl derby
cook every year. Yeah. Crawl derby. Then you have multiple golf tournaments.
Yep.
Then you have a huge fundraiser, dinner, and then what else? You have? You have damn noodling competition. How did that go this year?
Well, that wasn't really for drinks. So I have
that was just something you helped out with.
I have these redneck friends, and they're like, "Hey, we like to noodle." I'm like, "Cool. I'm not putting my hand in a hole, and I don't know if I can't see it. I'm not." I'm like, dude, I like my fingers and hands too much. I mean, you know, I'm not doing that. So they're like, well, man, you'd be the perfect person to kind of host this thing and put it on and do all this stuff. And I'm like, sure, I'll do it. I mean, whatever. I mean, we need to do X, Y, and Z. Let's do it. So it went good, man. I mean, those guys come out. You know, for a normal dude, like, you would probably be shocked at how big some of the catfish are in our local lakes and rivers.
It's insane.
It's a little ridiculous. Like, they're pulling 50 and 60 pound catfish out, and you're throwing out the number 50 and 60
People
pounds.
Don't understand how large that is.
Dude.
That's as large as a human.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a small kid. Like, it's large.
Yeah, they're pulling third graders out of a tank, and you're like, what? That's in some bathtub buried in Cross Lake?
We were there. We were there last year, and there's this dude. I was laughing. I know you saw him, but they had that, I don't know if it's like a small septic or tank or whatever. And there's this cap. That's probably 2 foot wide, maybe. And then I look out there, and this dude dives into this tank that he has on a trailer that's no taller than 4 foot tall. and dives into it, and then sticks his head out of this hole. I'm like, what the fuck's going on,
dude? Next level.
Because I've seen noodling, but the way they transported it and all that was hilarious.
Hey, so that same dude, he had like an oil field.
You know who I'm talking about?
Oh,
yeah. I don't remember who it was.
It was David Ferrier.
Yeah,
he had like an oil field tank, and it was sitting on
That's what it was, an oil field tank.
A
yeah.
16-foot trailer strapped down, and they had some kind of air. So you have to keep the fish alive for weighing, right? Dude, listen to this. This year he shows up. He has a chest freezer.
Okay.
Huge. Fills up the whole bed of his truck.
Yeah.
And he's got all these batteries hooked to it that are keeping it alive. And I'm like, dude, that can't be safe. Like, we're talking about electricity and water. And something could easily go bad wrong. And he's like, hey, they're alive. And I was like, whatever, man. I don't care. I'm not messing with it. So, but yeah, I think you turn in your 3 big fish, and the winning team was like 156 pounds, something like that.
Yeah, that's insane.
But second place was 141.
Yeah.
We're talking about dang, dude. But you gotta, we do a couple golf tournaments. Dream Hunt does. We do a.
Everyone loves those too. Those are,
man,
they're getting bigger and bigger, man.
It's just what I learned real quick, man. If you make it fun, and you kind of keep the mission of what we're doing in front of people, you're going to get the same people. And kind of one cool thing is, and Brandy, our Dream Hunt assistant, came up with this. We have a pretty cool donor database system. So like all those teams that were there this year, when we go to start the sign up for the golf, she just emails them all, and that's how it sells out. I think every event we've done for the past almost 5 or 6 years has sold out because people have fun at them. It's a good time. They know what they're raising money for, and we just kind of keep it light, So we're there to have a good time and feed them and have a good time and ride around and play a little golf or whatever. So our next one we got coming up is probably going to be at Honey Break, a clay shoot down at Jonesville. So
really, when's that?
Man, they haven't set the date yet, but it's probably going to be the last Saturday in August.
Okay,
is what they're looking at. So, when that's done, it'd be pretty good. It's a good chapter of guys down there in the Faraday area, Faraday Natchez. They call it the Miss Lou chapter because it's Mississippi, Louisiana. But man, a bunch of really good guys down there. So they do a clay shoot at Honey Break. And then we'll have our dinner coming up in September. So, well,
how many people do you have directly what is your area covers now? With this, because I know it started out just in northwest Louisiana.
Yeah, just Shreveport. But we have an awesome group in Monroe, Faraday, Baton Rouge, Lafayette area, down to Macomb, Mississippi, Fayetteville, Arkansas, Dallas, and Houston. So there's 9 groups in 4 different states. So it's grown, man. Everybody wants to be involved and do it. Once you have a key volunteer in one of those places, you can start taking kids and finding places to take them and things like that. So, but it's been great, man. We've had a great time doing it. We just try to keep it fun, So,
how much do you think? How much is it? Well, you probably know these numbers off the top of your head, but how much does it take per each kid to take? How much money do you have to raise, to take them on a trip?
Well, each kid, it's different, but for a hunt, it's average. I would say $500 to $600.
Okay.
Because you think about it, when they come in town, as soon as they get there, we give the parents a gas card.
Okay.
For travel expense. We give them a hotel room key for their hotel for 2 nights. Mm-hmm. So in your mind, you can start figuring that up pretty quick. We give them a shirt or a hoodie and a hat. We provide meals for the family. So
right.
They always say, well, how many of the siblings can come? I'm like, man, look, you got a 2-bed hotel room. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you put 8 people in there. If y'all fit comfortably, cool with me. Or it could be you and your kid, whatever.
Right.
But we'll feed you guys and take care of it. We've had, multiple, siblings and things like that come, but we feed them all weekend when they come in. And
But then you have the hunt donated by the landowner.
Yeah,
correct.
The landowner,
so that's a whole nother you're spending $500 just on money you've raised, but that's a whole nother value right there, especially if they're hunting exotics or something.
And we try to give the landowner, hey man, it doesn't really come close to what they've been doing, but hey, here's a couple bags of corn because I know you've been feeding these animals for like 3 months, having them come to like 60 yards from the stand so this kid can shoot a doe or whatever walks out, or whatever you say we can shoot. So we do things like that. We try to do special gifts for our guides and cameramen because I know, they're taking their time out to take these kids. But some of the money we raise goes toward our gear. So you got to think about it. Guns, cameras, all the things involved with that, the video equipment. Every gun has adaptive gear on it where, the kid can look through a video camera and it looks through the scope. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you took a kid, you saw it when we took the kid in Texas this year.
Yeah.
He's got that gun that he can look through that camera and the guide can say right there, pull the trigger right there, that kind of stuff. So, but we have a gear trailer, and so when they come up, when the guide and cameraman come up, we just start checking out stuff, whatever they need.
Yeah,
if they need a ground blind, a bipod, gun, camera, whatever they need, we're going to hand it to them.
Yeah, that's something people need to think about is that this is not just putting a rifle in someone's hand and taking them. You have, you have some of these children that you're restricted to a wheelchair and they can just move a lever, if that, so having all that adaptive technology is a lot more higher expense, to provide than just, grabbing a rifle with a scope on it.
Yeah, it's not like, hey, buddy, here's a 308.
Right, exactly.
Hope it works out for you. We'll see you in a couple days. It's not like that at all. So, but yeah, it varies. It's hard to put an exact number on it because there's so many different moving parts involved in what it takes to pull all this off. But it's been good, man. I mean, we've raised money. We got donated 10 acres of land in Stonewall, Louisiana about 3 years ago. So right now we're going through the process of we've built our corporate offices for all those places to have one meeting space and a warehouse and office space and things like that. We built a fishing pier and got a pond on it. And so it's crazy how all this has kind of come about because it's wild, man. So we're able to do that. We've probably hopefully at this point, about 2 months out, being completed on that whole project and get in there. Hopefully by the end of the summer we can get in our office space. So that'd be great. But it takes a lot. It really does. I mean, way more than I thought when we first got into it. Because when kids apply and they're like, well, the kid's got a rare form of muscular dystrophy and he can't move, and so we bought these devices called a sip and puff, and it's like this machine, and it's controlled by a joystick, and it's got this straw that comes to the kid's mouth. So he either sips or he puffs to pull the trigger to the gun. I mean, it's crazy, the equipment we have, that we can literally take any kid and make it happen. If they have the desire to want to kill a deer, we can do it. And
that's something too that, like, I mean, you don't think about it, especially people like you and I, who, I mean, you do now, but I mean, your average, fella who takes his kids hunting, like, you don't think about like having some, a child who's, unhealthy or not able to, like, they have to be restricted to a wheelchair, and getting that wheelchair into a deer stand, into a ground blind. You can't put them up in a tree, getting that into some type of ground blind and, all the work like that goes into getting them out there and just to be inclusive because they want to do something too. They're just not able to, and there's got to be, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's some other organizations similar to yours across the,
there are,
but I just, you don't hear about that. You have all these, children that just can't do, they just don't have the opportunity. You know what I mean? They can do it. They just don't have the opportunity.
The thing I hear about some of the other organizations that do what we do, they're not taking the volume of kids we're taking. Like, I'm the kind of guy, I don't want to turn anyone away.
Well, what about special needs adults? Have y'all done that? Or are you looking into doing that?
We only take kids 8 to 18 because that's kind of what God put in my heart. I was like,
that's your mission.
That's our mission.
Gotcha.
But I have a group that does a kind of a adult veteran kind of deal, like wounded warrior kind of deal. And they do a hunt over in the Monroe area every year. And so when I get those references throughout the year, I refer them to that group. Like, hey,
who are they? That way people know if they need to.
Huh?
Who are those people?
I can't remember the name of it, but it's it's Jeff Petras with TP Outdoors.
Okay, gotcha.
He has a TV show, a hunting show and all that, and they take adults over to a place in Mangum, Louisiana, at a high fence over there, and they have a big hunt, feed them, very similar to what we do.
Gotcha.
But it's really more adults kind of deal.
Gotcha.
So I know they do it. Wheeling Sportsmen do it. But like I said, we take kids who have never gone before. So if you take a kid, here's a kid, man, he don't know anything about shooting a gun.
Exactly.
You're about to teach him that. And once that kid fulfills that, their dream is complete with us.
Right.
You know? So we don't take the same kids every year. And that was the other thing I really felt strongly about. I was like, man, it's not much of a dream if you get to do it every year. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know what's pretty cool though, man? When we take these kids, we have a lot of the parents, just because of the kids' issues or their limitations, the parents are like, oh, he can't do that. And I'm just like, I think he probably can. You know, and so a lot of times we're able to kind of, for lack of better words, prove to the parents like, hey.
Well, that gives them gives them a little bit more motivation too, because like once you see, you have to think about something. I can only imagine having children, you know, having a child that you had restrictive capabilities anyways.
Right.
And then constantly, you know, having to, you know, make these life-changing, you know, alterations so that you could, you know.
Or spending all your money on getting them well.
Right.
You know, and like, we can't do that.
Let them be inclusive, you know. Yeah, or we don't have the money to do something like that.
Exactly.
And then them being able to come out there and experience, well, not only that, but experience that with their children.
Right.
You know, and see that happen and then not have to pay for it. You know what I mean?
Well, and, you know, I had one parent say it best about 3 years ago. They said, you know what the best thing about this is? And I was like, no, what, in your opinion, what do you think it is? And they're like, well, my kid for one day is on a level playing field with every other kid his age. Mm-hmm. You know, he sits at school and he hears about all these other kids going on youth hunts and all these other things, and he's never been able to do it because we didn't have the means to do it or the equipment or whatever it takes. So, and I thought, dang, you're right, man. That's exactly what it is. I mean, you level the playing field. When they come with us, you know, it's like, hey, we can make it happen. You know, we're going to figure it out. And let me say this, man. The nicest way I can say this for your podcast.
Oh.
Where we take these kids are a target-rich environment. So they're going to pretty much have an opportunity. We're not taking them like mine and your deer lease.
Our deer lease.
If I took them down there to Reedheimer, Louisiana, I'm like, man.
Good luck.
Yeah, we may or may not see a squirrel, dude. I don't know what. But the places, I'll say this, we're blessed at this point because the places we take these kids, it's like, yeah, about 12 minutes from now, you know, old Nanny Doe's about to walk out and you're about to put the smack down on one. You know, I mean, we feel pretty good about it. So that's the other thing is like taking them to a place they're gonna feel successful. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I accomplished it. You know, and that kind of builds them up, man. And they're like, dang, I did it. You know, I did it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Y'all definitely have some nice spots to go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't like that to begin with at all. So that we started very humble beginnings, trying to figure it out and be like, God, I'm not asking for me. Please let a deer walk out because I don't know.
So
you know,
you did. So you were a pastor for how long?
Shoot, I was on staff at churches for like 18 years.
How'd you get into that?
Man, once again, in 1997, when I was 19 years old, man, I just had a radical moment with the Lord. Man, I did not live for God at all, and man, I felt like, hey, man, I gotta have God. I gotta have Jesus. You know what I mean? I had a great moment, and it just changed my life. You know, and so from that time, I just felt, man, I want to make the difference in other kids' lives. Mm-hmm. You know. Grew up in a single mom, you know, kind of deal, broken family,
right? And
so I thought, man, I want to have an impact on teenagers coming up through middle school, high school. So, you know, I really felt God was calling me to ministry at that point. And so, student ministry specifically. And so, you know, from 97 to 2000, around 99, 2000, I was in college in LSU Shreveport and worked as an intern at Summer Grove Baptist. And, man, had an awesome time. You know, left that and went to coach at Parkview Baptist down in Baton Rouge. So I was a high school football coach and taught Bible for a year down there.
Okay.
And that was an awesome experience. Got to coach with Hall of Fame coach Kenny Guillot, who's passed away a couple years ago. But, man, what an impact he had on my life. From then, I went to seminary from 01 to like 03 in Fort Worth. And so, man, when I was there, got another awesome opportunity to travel the country and speak as like a youth evangelist all over the country. Like every weekend I was in an airport flying out somewhere.
Okay.
Or doing Disciple Nows and youth retreats and camps and things like that. And that's actually how I met my wife, was at Panama City Beach doing youth camps. I think we were there for like, 14 or 15 weeks. From like May, man, it was a long time.
It's a long time. Yeah.
It was all summer, dude. And so we met in 02 there. Got married in 03 and did it again in 03. We were on the road. Man, we went to 16 different states our first 3 months being married. We were all over the place. And then went on staff at Calvary in Shreveport in 03 when I got back. So been in the area ever since then. But I think that's really why I had, when I had such a passion, obsession for hunting all those years, right? But I think that's really why at the end of it, God was like, hey, I want you to do this for other kids. I want you to let them experience this. You've always had a passion for kids and them knowing me coming through this, but why don't you do it through the outdoors? And I thought, well, how's that going to work? And then all this comes out. So kind of a crazy story, man. You never know what God's got going on for you, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That's my testimony. You have a passion for cooking, things like that. Yeah. That's probably your real passion, but you don't know what that's going to lead to.
Yeah, I mean,
you're sitting there going, well, I got a trailer and we go to Minden and cook and we go here and there and go to golf tournaments, but who knows what's coming up in the next 10 years.
Man. I don't know. I just know that I enjoy talking shit, doing like what we're doing right now, and I like cooking. That's two things I like to do. You know what I mean? It's like but yeah, I mean, who knows what it turns into? But I feel like if you have you have a mission. I mean, that's why you founded something that is literally a 501c3 nonprofit,
right?
That has a mission statement that you uphold to, and that's what you like live by. And I think that's important,
Well, another thing is like we'll take a kid, right, who's never been, and at the end of the hunt they kill a deer or whatever, and before they leave, like the kid we took in Texas did this, and it was kind of crazy. Every time they say that, not every time, but a lot of times kids are like, oh, man, this is great. I want to come back next year. And I'll tell them, like, hey, look, this is the deal. You can't come back. Because if I bring you back.
To bring everybody back.
Well, you're taking the spot of the next kid that wants to go.
Right.
And you know what? Every time I have that conversation with a kid, they go, let the other kid come. Let that kid come. Because this was awesome. And I don't want him to miss getting to do this. This was great. You know what I mean? And so that kind of reiterates to me, like, okay, I know we're doing the right thing. Like we're doing the mission that we feel like God's called us to do.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's kind of crazy, man. But yeah, we were on staff at church, and I was on staff at Simple Church, and man, it was incredible. And I'll tell you this: apart from Justin Hagler, he came into staff meeting one day, and he goes, "Hey, if this isn't your dream, you don't need to be here." And I thought, this really isn't my dream. This isn't my dream job. And I really began to pray about that. Like, well, what is my dream job? My dream job will be to go hunting every day. Hunting or fishing.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there going, God did that. If your dream job would be like, man, I'd love to just cook for people every day.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, or produce podcasts or whatever your dream job is. Man, God put that dream in your heart. He put that there. That was God given. So you just got to figure out, what does that mean? How does that work out? How can I do this for other people and it still work for everybody? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I figured all that out, but I'll just kept, every time a door opened, we'll just walk through it.
Yeah.
And until it closed. Okay, we're not supposed to go there. That door over there is open. Let's go through that door, and just found our way, So we definitely don't have it all figured out and still trying to figure out what we're doing. So It's been going great though, man. We're very blessed to be able to take these kids, and I'll tell you, man. These families. Sure, we're a blessing to the families, but I'll say this: everybody that takes a kid, you realize real quick how blessed we really are. You know what I mean? There's a whole set of issues we don't even have to think about or deal with every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That these families go through. We're trying to figure out how to make it maybe financially or just stress in our life. They're trying to figure out how to keep their child alive, or, man, are we going to be able to buy the medicine this month to take care of the kid? You know?
That's something
it's kind of crazy, man.
Yeah, I think that's more important. Like, I think it's more important to eat. We need to talk about that, and that you mentioned that is that people need to understand, like, when I say these type of children you're taking hunting or fishing, whatever, especially hunting, a lot of these children may not make it out of their teenage years.
No. Which
is insane to think about, right?
Right. I mean, there's a terrible form of muscular dystrophy, and it takes the child. It's a muscle deal, and eventually it weakens all the muscles in your body, and the last muscle to go is your heart. You know, and we've taken multiple of those kids, and who knows how long you have to live? Only God knows. But at some point, if the disease progresses, that's going to happen. And so you try to make the most quality experiences for these kids as long as they're here. And so, but I'll tell you this: I've gotten to know medical terms pretty dang good over the last 10 years, because it's like the parent will tell me, like, oh, well, he has this, and I'm like, what? And I'll get on my phone, like, Googling, and it's like, good night. Yeah, we need to go. We need to do that. We need to make that happen. Let's figure that out. When can he get here? Where can we go? What's the closest place they can fly into? And I'll meet y'all there and get all the stuff.
And you take them in from everywhere, all of the United States?
All over. Man, we've had kids from New Mexico or Utah, Illinois, Florida, Pennsylvania, and we'll fly them in for different things and take them to, like, awesome spots. Man, one time I got a call about this kid. He was in the Lafayette area, and they called and said, listen, the doctors said he's got about 4 weeks.
Whew.
And I was like, okay. And this was like right after New Year's. I was like, well, and they said, but listen, I know when it was, because Drew Brees, the Saints were in the playoffs, okay? And they were playing the Eagles on a Sunday, and this was like on a Thursday morning, for real. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, okay, so Drew Brees is doing a Drew Brees experience for this kid in the Dome. They're playing the Eagles, first round of the playoffs. Can you get him to Shreveport and take him on a dream hunt and get him on a plane back by Saturday or Friday night? And I'm like, dude, it's Thursday morning, man. And they're like, I know.
Yeah.
Like, we just found out yesterday, like, he's got 3.5, 4, like, it's soon. And I'm like, okay, well, dude, I went in scramble mode. I called downtown Shreveport aviation guys down there, Trubo, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, here's the deal. And they're like, all right, hold on, we're going to figure this out. And they're like, if we get him here Friday, if we get a plane from Lafayette to bring him, we can get him back. But he's got to go back Friday night. And I'm like, bro, you're telling me I got one shot to get this kid a deer? And they're like, yeah, you got one shot, one afternoon. And I'm like, I'm stressed, dude. I'm like, holy crap, bro. So I get on the phone, call this guy in Spring Ridge, Louisiana. He's got a high fence.
Okay.
Explain the whole deal. Jack Wynn. Explain the whole deal. I was like, Mr. Jack and Kurt Gorley and Jack. I was like, here's the deal. And they're like, all right, we're all in. I was like, do you have deer coming to that feeder? He's like, well, yeah, I mean, they're coming around, kind of deal. And I'm like, okay. So I take, I tell Kurt, I was like, listen, this dude's flying in. He'll be here at 9 a.m. He's like, okay. Well, the kid comes in and a cold front happens. Like cold. Like 35 cold. Dude gets off the airplane. Good looking kid. Like 6'2", 180 pounds. He's getting off the airplane. I'm thinking, my first thought was, dang, he don't he's got 3 or 4 weeks to live?
Yeah.
No way. Well, the more you talk to him, you realize, like, they gave him some medicine, kind of getting pumped up for the day.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the pilot dropped him off. We met him at the airport, picked him up. He was in like sweatpants and a t-shirt. I'm like, bro, we gotta go get you some clothes. We go to Academy, buy all the gear. He's got all this hunting clothes on, and we take him to Silver Star Grill. And so we're sitting there, and I said, man, what do you want? He's like, oh, I'll just get like a little sandwich or something. I'm like, no, bro, it's your dream hunt. You can get whatever you want. I don't care. You know, he's like, you for real? I was like, yeah. He goes, I want 2 ribeyes. I'm like, bet, dude. Yeah, he wanted 2, bro. I mean, he's a good looking athletic kid, you know? And I was like, all right, let's go. And dude, he crushed them. And he's eating them. Second ribeye, he goes, man, this is better than I ever dreamed. I was like, what you mean? You never had a Silver Star ribeye? He's like, no, I've never had a steak.
What?
Yes. That is the God's honest truth.
Man.
I said, you've never had a steak in your life? And you're like 17 years old? He's like, never. Always dreamed of having a steak. I was like, and I looked at Kurt, and he started tearing up. He's like, well, you're eating 2 today, buddy. You know, that kind of deal. Listen, dude, so we take this kid to a high fence. This is crazy. Crickets, bro. We don't see nothing. Nothing.
Damn.
I know. And I'm going, once again, I'm like, God, I'm not asking for me. But this is it.
Yeah.
I mean, we got like 10 minutes till dark. And I said, please let a deer walk out so this kid can kill it. You know, please. I said, because I can't, you know, I'm praying to myself, but this is what I'm saying in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know the situation. You put us in this spot.
Mm-hmm. I
look like a goober. We're in a high fence, deer everywhere, but they're not right here. You know, the feeder, we had a remote control of that feeder, and I'm at...
just spraying the hell out of corn.
Dude, got a remote control like nothing's coming. Hey, Kurt randomly turns behind me, and he goes, oh my God. He said, look at that. Well, we were on the edge of the high fence. Mm-hmm. There's 2 does walking down the line of the high fence on the other side, on the free side. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
They're not in the high fence.
Yeah.
They're in the free range side.
Right.
I'm like, what are they doing? He goes, who cares? Get the gun. You know? So he gets the gun. We we're playing musical chairs now. Everybody's switching around the stand. We're aiming out this side. Now we got to switch out the back. And, man, they stopped. There's a corn feeder there. And they stopped. I was like, kill her. You know, I'm filming. I'm like, shoot her. Boom. He shoots, toenails her, drops her. I was like, this is crazy. Well, we got the stand. He's real weak. Like the medicine is worn off.
Got you.
Man, he didn't even have time to go with us to clean the deer because the flight's coming in. He's got to go back. Mm-hmm. So we take him, get the deer, go hang it up. I was like, we got to take him to the airport. Took him to the airport. He went, did the Drew Brees deal. Man, 2 weeks later, he was gone.
Gosh.
2 weeks later.
What did he have?
He had bone cancer.
Oof.
Yep. Very, very progressive. Like fast. Like he didn't really discover it till he was a junior in high school. And I said, man, I'm trying to remember his name. I said, how'd you know you had that? And he's like, man, I just had these bruises all over my legs, and I thought it was from when I was playing softball, and they wouldn't go away, and I would get more bruises, and I'm like, I didn't hit nothing, you know? And this kid was a football player, baseball player, and man, we had to help him on the plane. That's how weak he was.
Oh, it already worn off, yeah.
Going back. So, you know, got the deer process and got it to his family and all that. Went to the funeral down in Lafayette. And it was just like, it was eye-opening. It was like, dang, man. I mean, you know, we're really all just a moment away from that. Mm-hmm. You know, so whatever you want to do with your life, you better do it.
Yeah.
You know, don't put it off. You know, and so when you're dealing with kids like that and situations like that, you know, it really tightens everything up and puts it in perspective. But the thing that I think about is how many people had to orchestrate that to make that happen.
A lot. Yeah, I mean, just
Just
on your
from the
just on your
financial
just on
side.
your side, like
Yeah.
how many? Like
I
how
know,
many?
but having money in the bank to go take him to academy or go getting 2 ribeyes, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, buy it. It's $100 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, or taking him out there, or putting the corn in the feeder. Who put corn in the other feeder outside the fence and didn't even know he was going to be there?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, we did it though, and I don't know. It's just, but it seems like there's a situation like that all the time, like something crazy that just boom, it happened, and it's like, well, you know, but it was good stuff, man.
and that's and you've done that 2,000 times.
Yes,
2,000 times since you, or over 2,000.
over 2,000 for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, in 10 years, we're starting our 11th hunting season this coming year, so it's wild, man. It really is. It's a different deal every time. You know, the kid I keep going back to that kid. The kid we took to Texas when you come over and cook. And stuff, he had muscular dystrophy, and so, you know, we were the coolest moment for that kid. You know, he went hunting that evening, didn't see anything, but they were going to come back. So Dalton Gould and all of them went home. They were going to guide him, right? And they were coming back. Patrick Dennis and Dalton Gould went home. And so that night, we're sitting around a campfire. And I said to him, I was like, hey, man, what's your favorite thing so far? You know, thinking he's going to say the food you cooked or, you know, the s'mores we're cooking around the camp, something, whatever. He said this. I said, what? He said, this campfire. I went, okay. He said, I mean, he's from Arkansas, I thought. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I think everybody does what we do.
Right, exactly.
You know? I said, what do you mean? He's like, I've never sat around a campfire. I'm like, that was his favorite moment. So you don't know what it is.
Yeah, and had he killed a deer that evening, he wouldn't have been able to do that.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. No, it's crazy what you take for granted, man. You take all these things for granted. And even to the... Of course, we think about big things.
Yes.
We take for granted.
Yeah.
We don't think about the little things because until someone points them out to them, you don't really realize it. You know what I mean?
And that really tightened me up. I was like, dang, we built a fire about when it's cold, like it was then. You know, a lot.
Yeah.
You know, my kids, they go get, you know, lighter pine. That's what they go do. Mm-hmm. Find a lighter pine in the woods, and we're gonna build a fire. You know, that's just part of it. Living in the country, but yeah.
And that's part of a good weekend of hunting, right? You know, a good weekend of hunting. Like if you take them hunting and you go to the camp and you drink, you know, you know, eat some good food. Maybe guys have a couple beers. And you have a good fire and everybody's talking BS.
Oh yeah,
that's part of it, man. And the experience of that's cool too. You know, like that's probably a lot of times more fun than just shooting a deer. You know?
It was for him. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, but think about maybe how many times he's watched a hunting show or something and saw him sitting around the fire. I was like, I want to do that. Go hunting. You know, go to the camp, you know, and he got to do it. Sit around the fire with the guys. Hung out for a minute. So it's cool, man. We're blessed. I appreciate you always being a part of what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
You're one of the first dudes that text every year like, hey, when's the golf tournament? When we coming? You know, or whatever. And so
I enjoy it, man. I enjoy it like it. Everybody has their part to give.
That's the volunteer side. You're seeing all of our volunteers,
right?
You know, all those dudes coming through and having fun, and they love that. You know, so but it's good, man. It's been awesome. So it really has been. It's been a blessing for sure. So.
Well, I enjoy it, man. I like what you guys are doing. Where can anyone find? Okay, you're on Instagram, Facebook, all those things. They can find you there. Is it at Dream Hunt TV? Is that what it is?
Dreamhunt.tv.
Dreamhunt.tv on your website. What's your Instagram?
All the Instagram and Facebook are just Dream Hunt Foundation.
Okay, Dream Hunt. Gotcha.
So they can check that out. Website's dreamhunt.tv. If they want to volunteer, they can fill out a volunteer application form on our website. We'll get it. It emails us, so we'll get it and reach out to you and get you lined up.
And if someone wants to submit an application for...
Yeah, for a kid, that's also on our website.
Okay,
yep,
gotcha.
Dreamhunt.tv. Fill out application. We'll start taking kids on hunts in October. Man, interesting thing. A lady from Caddo Parish Schools, who's a site coordinator, reached out, and we're taking 3 fishing trips coming up back into this month for homeless children. They go to like a camp. I know, a 2-week camp. I'd never heard of it, man. And so these are kids that don't have a home. They kind of come through. They're
just there in a group home or something?
I guess they're coming through Providence House. I'm sure there's multiple situations, but she said, hey, these kids have really never been fishing. I was like, okay. So she said, I have 60 kids. And I said, well, we need to break them up in groups of 20.
Mm-hmm.
She said, okay, we'll take kindergarten, first grade one day, second, third, and then fourth and fifth. So it's like elementary age, homeless kids in our city. I mean, as crazy as that
80?
is. It'll be 60 total.
60.
Yeah.
60 homeless kids here.
Yep.
Got you.
So
That's crazy.
we got
And
some
all the way
fishing
down-
days coming up.
Yeah, but from kindergarten, that's crazy, man. To
I
fifth
know.
grade, yeah.
I know.
That's crazy.
So I've already gotten Mr. Wicker, and he said we could bring them out. So they're gonna catch some.
Shout out
that
to
is.
that guy too, man. 'Cause
Dude.
that dude,
That's a good man.
yeah,
He
he's
is.
always on board, and he's got a good facility. I
Bro,
mean, yeah,
awesome. I mean, anytime anytime we have a need, his resources have always, he's always come through if I ask and say,
Yeah.
hey, look, I got this coming up. Do you mind if we come out or whatever? I mean, he's been 100%er. Like
Yeah.
he's down. So he's a really, really good dude. Really good dude, and I appreciate him a ton for what he does, what he allows these kids to experience.
yeah.
It's
awesome, man. It is. Well, look, man, let's wrap this thing up. You got any plugs, any last thoughts or anything you want to mention?
Man, not really, man. I appreciate you having me on. We've been talking about this for like 2
I know
years.
we've been talking about getting you on, and it keeps you're busy, man. You're busy.
I know.
You're
Well, hey,
busy
you
making
are
these
too.
dreams
It's all
happen,
good.
man.
Hey,
So,
we're gonna make it happen, dude.
all right,
Believe
man.
that.
We'll wrap there.
All right, dude.